Bingo Blitz rules.
If your bingo has ads in it,
That's not a bingo.
if it doesn't have the coolest tournaments, mini games, and the most breathtaking design,
Nope, not a bingo.
if your bingo moment makes you feel so excited that you just want to burst in joy and scream out loud, bingo! Sorry, so you're playing...
Bingo Blitz? Now that's a bingo. Go for a world of excitement with Bingo Blitz, the #1 free bingo game. Download Bingo Blitz and play for free.
Now that's a bingo.
This episode is brought to you by Shopify. Forget the frustration of picking commerce platforms when you switch your business to Shopify, the global commerce platform that supercharges your selling wherever you sell. With Shopify, you'll harness the same intuitive features, trusted apps, and powerful analytics used by the world's leading brands. Sign up today for your $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/tech, all lowercase. That's shopify.com/tech.
Let's hang out. And let's talk about what lessons about. Let's hang out. And let's listen to two lesbians shout. Let's hang out. Let's hang out.
Welcome back to Let's Hang Out. I'm Ellie Brigida.
And I'm Lee Holmes Foster, and here's what's happening this week.
This week in the Lesdom.
This Week in the Lesdom is a place where we can touch base each episode about things going on with the podcast or otherwise. And I want to give you all a big reminder about our Season 5 Patreon campaign. We have been doing this show for 5 years, and we want to kick it up to the next level because we deserve it and you deserve it. So we want to say thank you to our latest patrons, Quinn and The Dash. I also want to know, who is The Dash?
It sounds so cool.
Right? I'm
Right?
like this superhero, maybe queer vigilante is supporting us on Patreon.
Yes.
I'm very excited about The Dash. So thank you. I'm excited about you too, Quinn. You seem great. But if you want to join Quinn and The Dash, you can do that at bit.ly/lespatreon. We have a lot of big goals for this season, like hiring a new social media intern and even creating some bonus content for you once we hit 150 patrons.
And we also have so many events still coming up. So some of you might have noticed the air's getting a little cooler, a little crisper. The leaves are getting a little more orange and red, and spooky season is coming up, So we are ready for it. We are going to have some spooky queer trivia focusing on some of our favorite scary horror shows and movies coming your way on October 26th and October 30th. We are pumped. I expect we will see a lot of costumes, and we're all we just can't wait.
I cannot wait. We also have Orphan Black trivia coming up in partnership with Realm, who produces the Orphan Black podcast with Tatiana Maslany. That is on November 4th at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm a huge Orphan Black fan. I know a lot of you are as well. We had a great time at our first Orphan Black trivia, so we want to see you there again.
And speaking of a great time, you know who we have a great time with is Bad Queers. And you
Love
know
'em.
what half of them do and half of them don't have a great time with? Musicals. So we are going to subject Chris to watching Rent and then hop on a Zoom live show with us and Bad Queers to talk all about our thoughts and feelings about it. I promise you're going to want to be there. We want to be there. We're very excited. And that's going to be on November 10th at 9 Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific. It's going to be something. I can't wait.
I can't wait. I love spending time with them. It's going to be great. In the greater Les universe, I feel like we're having a great year for queer content again, especially my favorite queer content, which is the rom-com. So Billy Eichner is producing Bros, which is an LGBTQ rom-com with also an LGBTQ plus principal cast.
Incredible.
So Billy will be starring in it.
Let's go, lesbians. Let's go.
Let's go, Billy. Let's go. We are here for you just like you are here for us lesbians, Billy. So I'm very excited to see Billy's new LGBTQ rom-com. I'm here for it.
And for this next news, now look, I know we're a little late on it, but we wanted to cover it just a little closer to Halloween. So we waited and pushed it to this week. So some of you may have seen, and if you haven't, you should know, that Cassandra Peterson, better known as Elvira, Mistress of the Dark, recently came out in her memoir, and not just came out, but came out by sharing with the world the 19-year relationship that she has been in with her partner, which I just, amazing. I think my favorite reaction is I saw someone on Twitter who was like, honestly, like, major props to someone who was able to go 19 years without including in every conversation, like, oh, and my girlfriend, Elvira, Mistress of the Dark. Like,
Yes.
amazing. Willpower of a saint.
Like, heterosexual people would probably be like, oh yeah, Elvira, but also like much harder for a queer person
Right?
to hide that, right? Because I mean, we've talked about it many times before. We love the supernatural shit. We like, we're into it. That is peak gayness to be dating Elvira.
Listen, I reiterate my Name a Straight Person 2021 challenge. They don't exist.
You can't.
False.
You can't.
Only myths.
I would also like to personally talk about a TV show that I've loved since season 1, and has had really great queer rep throughout, and just keeps getting better queer rep, which is like amazing. So Sex Education just came out with season 3. They've added a new character, Cal, who is an incredible non-binary character. We have Eric, who's always been there since season 1, but he's going through more of gay coming of age type stuff. His first I love you with a boyfriend. He travels to Nigeria with his family and gets to see like the underground queer scene there. There's just like, we also have a lesbian couple who have been together for a while and are dealing with some actual relationship issues, which I like because we have more depth to these characters. It's just so good. And I still like the straight characters, which, like, surprise, that if I like the straight characters, you put on a good show. So I just love Sex Education. Season 3 has been giving us even more great shit. So just want to let you know. Lee, have you seen it?
I have not yet, but I do feel like it gives me a great segue into our next item because we have some overlap, some overlap between our
Yep.
actors. So listen, many of you know, I'm sure, Midnight Mass dropped pretty recently, and like with all of us who have watched all the Mike Flanagan shows now, you kind of wonder, like, hey, another show coming out. Is there going to be some gay in it somewhere? Because, we just have this revolving door of the cast regulars who get to play gay. So, like, we had Kate Siegel in Haunting of Hill House got to have her turn. Victoria Pedretti in Bly Manor got to have her turn. And now, returning to the Mike Flanagan universe, Annabeth Gish gets her turn to play gay in Midnight Mass. Love it, love it. Annabeth Gish, you might have seen her when she was on Hill House, and also you might remember her from, like playing Dr. Sullivan on Pretty Little Liars, or like way back in the day when she was in X-Files. Huh? See what I did there?
I know.
See what I did there
love
with that
it.
overlap? It's a small world. That's all I'm saying. So, listen, I haven't finished it yet. I mean, hopefully by the time this episode comes out, maybe I will have. As of us recording this now, I'm still a little behind, but so far, super into it. Can't wait to see how it all turns out. That's what's happening this week. Back to you, Ellie and Lee.
Thanks, Ellie and Lee, and welcome to our 69th installment of Should Have Been
Nice.
Gay.
Nice.
We've been waiting so long to get here. So excited.
Oh, God, that's so exciting. Go us, 69 Should Have Been Gays.
Oh, it was fun, it was great, but it should have been a little more gay.
And in this week's episode, wow, this movie's like actually kind of just pretty straight.
As if.
As if. Oh my God.
It's not straight. We are so excited. We're going to be talking about Clueless today with Kristen Arnett, a very special guest. Hi, Kristen.
Hi, thank you so much for having me for this extremely gay film, cinematography, Clueless.
I'm so excited. For our listeners, Kristen is the author of With Teeth, a novel, and the New York Times bestselling debut novel, Mostly Dead Things, which was a finalist for the Lambda Literary Award in Fiction, and she self-identifies as lesbian Willie Nelson. What a bio, Kristen. What a bio.
Thank you.
I love it. And so we're going to start with our IMDb synopsis, and then we'll dig in a little bit about why we chose Clueless, because it was your choice, Kristen, and I know we're going to have so much to talk about. But let's start what is Clueless? What's it about, Lee?
Okay, for anyone who's not familiar with cinematic masterpiece Clueless, here is the IMDb synopsis. Shallow, rich, and socially successful, Cher's at the top of her Beverly Hills High School's pecking scale. Seeing herself as a matchmaker, Cher first coaxes two teachers into dating each other. Is that the whole thing? That's the whole thing.
That's it.
That's like a really cliffhanger-y synopsis.
Yeah, what are your thoughts on the IMDb synopsis, Kristen?
That is maybe one of the best I've heard, just because it makes you consider the fact that it's literally 1/4 of a movie that's described.
That it describes a lot of the plot, actually. Surprisingly, but then it just stops, right? It literally stops 25% in.
I really enjoy the use of a first followed by nothing. Just a big hit. Now listen, as a writer, Kristen, how well thought through is that as a literary device?
Well, it's maybe not one I would try in a book. I mean, I feel like that's one, if you try that on you get the real bad Goodreads reviews. So don't do that. Don't do that.
First, my character did this. The end.
But maybe that will, in the arena of the wild, wild west that is IMDb, they can get away with those shenanigans.
I guess so. Amazing. Good job, whoever wrote that.
I also really want to shout out, we don't usually start with who wrote and directed this film, but I just want to give a shout out to Amy Heckerling, who wrote and directed Clueless, because the script for this movie is impeccable. And she deserves I need to give it to her. That's all. It's
pretty flawless. It's like a delightful romp through first, and then that's all that happens.
And that's it. So let's dig in. We'll never know this entire episode. We're just going to talk about the first 25% of the film because that's what it's about. But what are our gay synopses for this film? Lee, do you want to kick us off?
I sure do. Okay, here's my gay synopsis for Clueless. When young, stealth femme lesbian Cher realizes that her obvious disgust with men isn't enough to keep them at arm's length, she employs a variety of beards, including an obvious gay and her stepbrother.
Wow. You really
that's my gay synopsis.
Mine's not very long. Mine is Cher doesn't date high school boys. Or any boys, for that matter. That's it.
Accurate.
That's it.
Kristen, hit us. What's your gay synopsis?
First of all, no, I'm kidding. I won't start that. Known lesbian Paul Rudd plays soft butch Josh, eagerly pursuing Cher, their in the closet stepsister. That sounds like a porn I would watch, to be completely honest with you.
I mean, you're not wrong.
That sounds like exactly what this film is about. That's what I saw. I mean, I think we can all agree. All three of us see Cher as a very clear lesbian. Very clear.
Here's what I love.
She literally says ew so many times to men. So many times. We'll get it.
I love when you go back and rewatch movies that I've seen. I have seen Clueless more than once. And going back and rewatching it and being like, oh, let me look out for the gay stuff. And then the gay stuff hits you over the head like a damn frying pan. And you're like, oh, interesting. I guess I just was ignoring it before because it's forward with its gay, let's put it that way.
This was a movie that came out when I was in high school, so it was a movie that I watched religiously as a closeted baby dyke. Could not figure out why I was so obsessed with it. I loved it. I owned the soundtrack on a CD. I listened to it in my car constantly. I thought about the movie all the time. I loved when she has that computer screen and her carousel of outfits, which is not who I am as a person at all. I was like, oh, I'm just so infatuated with this. What is it about this? And then it's later on, it's ding, ding, ding. Oh, you are gay. And you are gay. And you like watching this movie because you love how these women all interact with each other, in the gayest ways possible through extreme friendship breakups, which is so gay. family. Like your friendships are like so important in your life that they take on like this like heady kind of like romanticism to them. Also, just as an aside, there was one time I was like, when I was still married to my ex-wife, I was like laying in bed sleeping and it was early and she turned on the TV and I heard the opening notes to the movie and I was like in a dead sleep and I woke up and went, is Clueless on? And I was just like, there's just like, this movie has had a deep impact on my life as a homosexual.
I have to ask though, if it was her with her little, computer generated outfit software and her giant turntable closet, if that was what did it for you, is it still like the high femme lesbian? Is that still the type, or did that shift at some point? Because that she's like a very specific type,
Yeah, don't get me wrong. I still have a deep appreciation for a high femme, like love it. But I do think like having like acknowledged like my own queerness and like my own like navigation through like, being out and alive in the world. I don't know. I have a huge, I have a love for femmes, but I don't think that that's like necessarily, I don't feel like any kind of type is like necessarily like what I'd like assign myself. Because I also feel like I'm the kind of person that as soon as I say something's the only thing I like, then my brain is like, no, now you like this now.
I'm so here for that. Also, to be fair, I'm like, actually most of the queer women in this film are pretty femme. But like Ty, I feel like has a butch energy to her, especially when she shows up. I'm also like, we're skipping so far
No,
ahead.
we're skipping.
Because
I know. Wait.
It's okay. We talked about Kristen's experience with Clueless, really. So, Lee, what's your experience with Clueless?
My experience is I honestly can't even remember when the first time I would have watched Clueless is. It must have been when I was in high school or something. And then I know as I got into college, like Kelsey has always loved it, and she and her roommate used to watch it a lot. So like I know I also probably watched it like a handful of times minimum in college. And then I'm not positive if I've watched it since. Like I easily could have not seen this movie in a decade, So this was it was delightful. What a joyful film that is, just chock full of gay that I didn't remember.
Agreed. I mean, I've seen it a million times because it just like is one of those movies that's always on TV. Like you're always just like, oh, if it's half on in the background, you're going to watch it because it's hilarious. And by the time they got to the end, I don't know why, like the line when Ty says, "You're a virgin who can't drive," I think like I would say that to my friends. Like that was a thing, like that was a quote we said constantly. And I'm like, why was that the quote we were like saying to each other all the time? You're a virgin who can't drive. But but when I watched it today, first of all, it makes me laugh so hard. Like it is just comic genius. Like every line, Alicia Silverstone like crushes that role. I don't know, everything about Cher, I just feel like she's not dumb, which is what I love about it, right? Like acts like she's dumb, but she actually is so intelligent. And like she like remembers all of these like very specific details. It's like Legally Blonde energy kind of, right? I just love the character of Cher. And yeah, I had a blast watching it today and just being like, wow. From the first few minutes, it got very gay. So I'm so excited. I'm so excited to talk about this.
So let's dive back in because you were about to start in on Ty, which I would love to do because I know we're gonna have a million things to say about Cher. But let's start with Ty as our as we make our list of what was gay about this movie or who should have been gay. Ty, when she first shows up in that gym class, is the gayest thing I've ever seen. I mean, come on. What does she show up in? Like a flannel shirt and like it's just.
She's got like manic panic in her hair. She's got on like really wide pants and like a troll doll t-shirt. It's like nerdcore gay. It's like delightful. It's so queer in this kind of way where it's like, and also just like earnest. I feel like that kind of earnestness of being like a young little baby queer person. I also have to say, when at that scene where they're at that like party where like the ska band is and she's wearing overalls And first of all, overalls are gay. We own overalls.
I own overalls. You're correct.
We as homosexuals, we own overalls. And she falls down the stairs in her Doc Martens and overalls, gay. And she stands up and she's like, oh shit, like that was so embarrassing. And then she stands there and like, as she's like alone and doesn't know what to do with herself because she has social anxiety, gay, like starts like messing around with her overalls, trying to figure out how to wear them right. She's like, I'll pull down one side, I'll pull down both, I'll like put them back up, I'll like stand, like I was like, this is just like this like really deeply relatable kind of like very queer, like I'm at a party and I don't know what to do with my body.
Just gay panic.
Every time you see her, when her outfit is in a different position, it crushes. Like I could not live. But there's a line she says that cracked me up. I was like, I don't remember this line.
Yes,
So
I know exactly
she
which
literally
line.
says to Cher and Dee, she said, I have it written down exactly specifically, so hold on. I've never had straight friends before.
Front and center with the gay, this movie. Listen.
Like, are we to, okay, so like, if we are to assume that Ty is not gay, which we obviously don't, what straight person only hangs out with gay people? And like, literally says to these two people she just met, like, oh, I've never had straight friends before. Also, to that point, I know, like, we'll talk about Christian, but if you've never had straight friends before, Ty, how did you not clock Christian as a gay man from the first time you met him? But that's a whole other thing.
I mean,
but like,
listen. I even I'm pretty sure the first time I ever saw this movie, like no queer person at any age has ever watched this film and seen Christian's little face that very first scene and been like, ah yes, a straight man. 0% chance that has ever happened.
No, he was like trying to pull off like way too much like Brandon from 90210 for that to be remotely straight. It's like if you're trying to look like a dude who was on 90210, like that is gay. Like that's just like we don't make the rules. I mean, I guess we do. But that's just deeply gay.
We do.
But even in the context of like those late 90s movies where like all of their romantic male leads are somehow always lesbians. You know, like we'll talk about Paul Rudd in this movie too, but but listen, Paul Rudd and Bregmeyer, honestly, everyone except for Christian. Like even he is too gay to try to convince anybody that he was supposed to be a straight romantic lead. Like just no.
That, and also like, I mean, are we at Christian or are we still talking about Ty? But let's just like let's talk about Christian because okay, if we're talking about Cher, we've said like, you know, she doesn't like to date high school boys. She's a virgin. She can't drive. But like gay, like the gayest move you could ever make in high school is being a lesbian and the only guy you're ever remotely interested in is gay. And then you realize he's gay and you're like, oh, that's why I liked you. Let's be friends forever. That is a lesbian move.
I also think she's like, I like older men. Like, I like college-aged guys. What college-aged man does she know of that is, like, clean, put together, has, like, a bed frame for his mattress? Like, much less, like, a beautiful suit and, like, really manicured and, like, beautiful hair and, like, that's not the college boy experience. Like, what is the criteria here? She literally has college-age lesbian Josh that is not that way. So it's like, she knows that stuff is not like, so what is it? It's like, yes, she obviously realizes some part of her subconsciously maybe is like, this is safe. Here's a homosexual. We'll date each other and you will be who I lose my virginity to. And obviously that's just not occurring.
I also, what I love about it is that I 1000% believe that somewhere deep down she clocks how gay he is and is like, aha, another gay beard. There is not a doubt in my mind that Christian must clock her in a heartbeat too, because, like, look at him. He, like, hones in like a freaking, like, beacon. He is just like, oh yes, let me come over and, like, you know, flash my little doe eyes at you and let's go shopping all the time. And, like, oh my, he falls into, like, that GBF role so fast. And I'm like, come on. He knows what's going on. There's no way.
There's also that gay thing of, like, you are so terrified of, like, having to have sex with someone of the opposite sex. I'm like, that you're like, let me pick. And I'm like, not speaking from experience. Yeah, of course, this never happened. You pick in high school the safest men you can pick, right? Of, like, this man will never pressure me to do anything. And Cher goes so far to that of, like, this, like, both of them. Christian is like, Cher's the safest woman I can talk to here. She's not going to pressure me to kiss her, right? And Cher's like, Christian's not going to pressure me into anything. But then, yeah, the whole footsie scene, like, kills me. I'm like, you poor baby gay. Like, just, like, make out with Dion already. You know what I mean?
You sweet summer child. It's just not happening. It's also, I also think it's, like, very funny too, because I love her friendship with Dion in the movie. Like, that to me is, like, just like lesbian friends who've known each other for a million years. And, like, I love that Cher is like, Dion is my friend, and she has a toxic relationship with her partner. I love her. I support her. Okay, I'll talk to you later. I'm not dealing with, like, whatever your toxic thing is. I've told you guys to break up like a million times, and you keep getting back together. I love you, but I can't deal with your toxicity. You have no boundaries. Like, process, and then we can talk about it, but I'm not doing it with you. It's just so gay.
Wait, am I gonna have to be the one that ships Cher and Dion together for the group? Because I will be that person for us. I will take one for the team, for all of us. Because listen, all I'm gonna say is when we talk about, I feel like we've moved to Cher, and I know we're gonna be here for a while, so I'm ready to dive in. I think I'm killing Ellie. I'm ready to dive in. So here's the thing. Here's what I love about Cher as how gay she is, because one of the things that's, like, high up on my early tick boxes of, like, a sapphic character is exactly her relationship with Dion. The friendship she has, how they're like, oh my god, I just got out of class and I literally can't even wait the 0.8 seconds until I can see you next to me in the hallway. I have to call you, like, immediately because we need to talk and, like, share all of our feelings and process everything together. And I'm like, oh, you giant lesbians, of course you do. And I agree that she has the toxic relationship, but I also feel like Cher is constantly telling her, like, you could do so much better. Like who, Cher? Like who, I ask? Oh, I don't know, someone who, like, drives you to school every morning even though she doesn't even have a license. Like, just some thoughts, just some ideas I'm tossing out, you know.
Wow. No, I love that. I completely agree and see that. I do love the idea of, like, right, like, that beautiful, amazing, like, closeted kind of lesbian experience of being, like, borderline obsessed, stalking your own best friend, like, needing to know everything about, like, their day and what they're doing. Like, if they're in the bathroom, you're in the bathroom with them. If they're, like, you know, like, they're at home and you're like, well, I know that they eat dinner at this time, and I know that they'll call me at this time. Like, when Cher's, like, sitting at the table, like, having her, like, family dinner with everybody, and, like, the phones are all ringing, and, like, she's trying to, like, and she's like, oh, it's her friend calling. She's like, we gotta go now. We have to go. My friend is calling me. We have to go to this party. Which I think is also, like, just this kind of, like, obsessive need to be together. It's like this all-consuming, like, I have to know every moment of your day. Like, what were you thinking when you woke up? Like, what was your, like, thought process when you, like, the 3 seconds before you got here to talk to me? Yes, okay, I agree with this. I see where you're coming from, and I am on board for it.
I'm not sure anything about that sounds familiar to any lesbians anywhere. Doesn't ring a bell. Don't know what you're talking about.
I just, like, would die to be a fly on the wall at Dion and Cher's sleepovers. Like, you know, something weird is going on there. She didn't learn how to play footsie just by herself, you know?
Wait, sorry. I have one other thing to throw on. We're all over the place this episode, Ellie, and I know we're not on ships yet, but I'm gonna do it anyways because I am invested. I just want to throw again one like little quick throwaway line that did stand out to me, which is that when we first meet her boyfriend and he's, like dropping all his lingo and his slang and his stuff, he asks her, "Are you jeeping behind my back?" And all I want to know is who drives a Jeep, world? You tell me, listeners. Who drives a Jeep that we know of? That's all I'm saying. Okay, I rest my case.
Wow. I feel like something has just cracked open here for me. I have never, in my experience of watching this movie, thought about that before. And now I feel like I feel shaken to my core.
Listen, I'm not saying I would make a great lawyer, but her dad wouldn't be totally disappointed.
He'd make like $450 an hour or something. You know what I mean? Like you could do it. No, but there's also a line that are like there's the script. Like I said, love it. But there's a line that her dad said also that cracked me up because I'm like, we could take this however we want it, and it's no cruising around with Dion. 2 permits don't make a license, right? But to be fair, like from her father, that's the only thing she does, right? She goes to school, she cruises around with Dion, and they go to the mall. Like those are the things that Cher does in her life. Like she doesn't care about boys. She just cares about like going to school, getting good grades, and like cruising, whatever we want that cruising to mean, with Dion. I'm here for
Jeeping.
it.
They're just jeeping. Just, like you do.
Can we talk a little bit about Dion and Murray's relationship? Because like just in the context of it is quite a toxic relationship, right? They're like constantly breaking up. She hates that he's shaving his head. Like she's like, I have to look at your face. Also, like Dion in general, what are you gonna say, Lee? I'm like, why are you dying?
Because I do. The whole like, I'm gonna have to look at your face. It just feels so pointed, right? Like, is that just me? It just feels very much like, wow, I already have to look at your face as it is. It's another one of these examples, Ellie, of like relationships where they want to portray it as like, oh, what a cute, normal, straight relationship. And you're like, you never see them together and they seem to hate each other.
They have like a virulent dislike. I love when he shaves his head and she's like, her thing that finally gets to him is that she's like, I'm calling your mother, which I was like, this is like some deep level shit. Like, it's like, that's the one thing where I was like, oh my God, this is that kind of lesbian relationship where it's like, I'm getting involved with your family and I'm going to like ruin your life. I was like, they have like some shit going on. Also, let's talk about this. Where it's like, she's like, they have that kind of girls' day after, Ty's been through some trauma. So they go and they're eating these weird breadsticks and talking about dicks, as you do with, your fellow girls, just gals, talking about dicks using breadsticks, and then she's like saying like, talking about like what she's done sexually. And so it's basically she's saying she's only done oral, which I was like, well, there it is.
Pretty gay. Yeah, she said my man is satisfied and yet technically a virgin. So like if we swap out Murray for a female toxic relationship, same thing. But yeah, that whole conversation is too much. And it's the same conversation where we find out that Cher is a virgin, right? And she's saving herself for the right person. And not to say...
For Luke Perry.
Yeah, for Luke Perry. Who is such a lesbian stand-in. Luke freaking Perry. But also, like, not to say that, like, you can't save yourself, right? Like, that is a thing that people do. That's your choice. Like, there's plenty of, like, reasons to do that, whatever. But I feel like Cher's reason is because she's gay. Because she like has no desire. She's never had any ounce of desire to sleep with anyone. And she also like is so clueless about what the fuck's his name? Elton?
Yeah.
Like I noticed Elton kept trying to make out with her every single, like, there would be like something exciting happen. He's behind her and he grabs her and like starts kissing her cheek, and she's like, "Get off of me!" Like
Every
time.
opportunity. He tries to reach for like whoever gives her, someone gives her like a joint, and he's like trying to reach around the side, like to put his arm around her. He tries everything, and then her reaction when he does try to sneak in the kiss and suck and blow, and like she just about like throws up on the spot. It's just a lot. It's a lot. This episode is sponsored by BetterHelp. And as we head into Thanksgiving time, I want to start by thanking my wife, Kelsey, who has not only listened to just about every episode of this podcast for 8 seasons now, but who also is the only reason I'm able to make time to record it every week. She takes the kids, gets them dinner, and gets them ready for bed, just so that Ellie and I can come on and yell about gay things into each other's faces for an hour. So here's a reminder to send some thanks to the people you're grateful for in your life, including yourself. I've been in therapy for a long time now, and one thing that's so important about therapy is how it teaches you to be more intentional. And being intentional about gratitude and how to show that to the people you appreciate is just one of the many benefits that I've gotten from therapy over the years. If you've been thinking of starting therapy, consider giving BetterHelp a try. I know how hard it can be to find time for regular therapy, and BetterHelp is designed to be flexible and convenient for your schedule. You can fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist, and you can switch therapists at any time for no additional charge. If you want to start being more intentional about gratitude in your life, visit betterhelp.com/letshangout today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/letshangout.
Let's hang out.
For many businesses, the holiday season can be both an exciting and stressful time. With so many balls in the air, one thing you definitely want to know you can rely on is how you're selling your products. And with Shopify, you can rest easy knowing it's the home of the #1 checkout on the planet. Nobody does selling better than Shopify. And when it comes to successful brands like Aloe, Allbirds, or Skims, an often overlooked secret is all the things that go on behind the scenes that make selling, and for shoppers, buying, simple. For millions of businesses, if you take a peek behind that curtain, you'll see that Shopify is what makes it all possible. Shop Pay boosts conversions up to 50%, so that's more happy customers and way more sales going. It's true all the time, but especially this time of year, your commerce platform better be ready to sell wherever your customers are scrolling or strolling, on the web, in your store, in their feed, and everywhere in between. Businesses that sell more sell on Shopify. Upgrade your business and get the same checkout we use for Realm merch with Shopify. Sign up for your $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/realm, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/realm to upgrade your selling today. Shopify.com/realm. For many businesses, the holiday season can be both an exciting and stressful time. With so many balls in the air, one thing you definitely want to know you can rely on is how you're selling your products. And with Shopify, you can rest easy knowing it's the home of the #1 checkout on the planet. Nobody does selling better than Shopify. And when it comes to successful brands like Aloe, Allbirds, or Skims, an often overlooked secret is all the things that go on behind the scenes that make selling, and for shoppers, buying, simple. For millions of businesses, if you take a peek behind that curtain, you'll see that Shopify is what makes it all possible. Shop Pay boosts conversions up to 50%, so that's more happy customers and way more sales going. It's true all the time, but especially this time of year, your commerce platform better be ready to sell wherever your customers are scrolling or strolling, on the web, in your store, in their feed, and everywhere in between. Businesses that sell more sell on Shopify. Upgrade your business and get the same checkout we use for Realm merch with Shopify. Sign up for your $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/realm, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/realm to upgrade your selling today. Shopify.com/realm.
This episode is brought to you by Skinny Pop Popcorn. Perfectly popped, endlessly delicious. Oh, so light and crunchy. Skinny Pop Original Popcorn is the snack you've been searching for. Made with just 3 simple ingredients: popcorn kernels, sunflower oil, and salt. Snacking never felt or tasted so good. Perfectly popped, endlessly delicious. Give yourself permission to snack and pick up Skinny Pop Original Popcorn today.
It's so much. Yeah, also Ty, like, she's like, I'll take it anyway, except curved. Sorry, I'm going back to the...
No, there's a lot to unpack at this place because it's also a bunch of beefcake men that are the servers. And, like, they're all, not share, but they're, like, saying, like, oh, break me off a piece of that. And I was like, this is, like, what gay women in the closet would be, like, saying about, like, some beefcakey dudes. Because they're, like, what is it that people say when it's, like a hot man, like a hot piece of behind, you know, as the ladies say.
That's what we say around here all the time, yeah.
Oh, and then also, doesn't Cher say she doesn't like muscles? She literally says, I don't like too many muscles. I'm like, so you like a woman's body?
Wait, and what is she? She also, she's like, boys, they're like dogs. Like, she says they're like dogs. She doesn't like muscles. Jeez. I'm saving myself for Luke Perry. Like, oh, honey.
But I also do love what you're saying, Kristen, about, like, I feel like I had actually a friend in college who now has come out. And she was, like, she would objectify men so, like, disgustingly in college. And, like, some of the things she'd say, I'm like, what? Why are you saying these things? And now I'm like, oh, because you literally were not attracted to them. You just were like, oh, yeah, I'd love to, like, bite that ass. And you're like, what? Like, why? Like, that's not a thing straight people say either. But, like, she's just trying to be like, I love men. Like, I really do. I swear I do. You're like, all right, you don't. She's out now. Don't worry. She's safe. She's happy. But that was a lot.
It was so funny to me, even watching it at the time, because I was like, I guess this is how I would relate. Like, the first time I watched it, I was like, yeah, that's hunky. That's real. That's hot stuff. Woo! We like that action. It's just like, it's like no one knows what to say. It's like like you think, like, you're like, well, I think I heard this in a television show once. I think that,
yep.
So I guess that's what I will put into this situation. And then you end up, like, right, like the weird horny friend who's saying some, like, insane things in a situation, and it turns out, oh no, they came out later, they're just gay, they didn't know what they were doing. God bless them.
It's the female equivalent to what Christian keeps doing, where he's like, I know, I'm gonna be like a 1950s Rat Pack wannabe, like, oh, look at you in that dress, stunning, everyone buys this, and you're like, sure they do, sweetie, sure they do.
See, I don't think Christian was trying to pretend. I think he thought Cher knew. Because I think he was very surprised when she was coming on to him.
I think with Cher, yes, but I think the whole scene in front of the dad and Josh, I feel like he's trying to, like, put on some kind of, like, oh, you know, just me, or just another straight guy over here.
That makes sense to me. Like, I feel like if I was, like, I would look with my, like, secret high school girlfriend, like, when I would, like, go over to, like, her, like, house, it was like, I was not acting the kind of way maybe I would be, like, otherwise. And I'm like my voice gets higher. I'm, like, saying a bunch of stuff. I'm like, I love your nails. They look amazing. Like, to her mom. Her mom loved me, too. She was always like, I was the only one allowed to sleep over. That's a nightmare. Like, I did, like, it's just, but it's one of those things, right, where it's like you kind of acclimate, where you're like, I'm supposed to be performing this kind of way. But he does a terrible job. Like, he goes in there and he's like, do you drink? And he's like, oh yeah, what do you have? He's like, no, you're driving my teenage daughter around. Like, I'm not offering you alcohol.
I love it because that's all I was thinking when you were saying, like, yeah, you like talk all high and we're trying to be normal, and it, like, that's all I could think is, like, when you're trying to pretend that you're not drunk around, like, parents, you know, where you're like, be normal, play it cool, act normal, and then you're like, how does this door work?
You're like eating a piece of pizza and it, like, misses the mouth. It's just, like, gracing your cheek.
Yes, exactly.
But yeah, I mean, for Christian, like, so we do a lot of should have been gays where like there's no explicit gay at all. We do get some explicit gay with Christian.
And their PE teacher.
Oh yeah,
we
do
have
a
two
lesbian.
gays in this movie is all I'm saying.
Oh, we need to talk about that because that's something that's set up like right in the beginning of the movie, in the first quarter, if you will, from the first thing from IMDb. Because she was like, when she's going through trying to like look at the teachers in the teachers' lounge, she's like, oh, this is like famously is like not interested in men. Right? So it's like right there, it's like, yes, first of all, I love a gay lady gym teacher. That's amazing to me. I love that. That is like, I think one of the most beautiful things that could happen for a lesbian.
There's like only like there's like a few career paths you take. Like you're born a lesbian, right? And you're like, where's my life gonna go? PE teacher, writer,
florist, yeah.
Yeah, florist, nanny, bartender. Like there's only so many, plumber. There's only so many careers we can have.
Carpenter.
Like
How are we leaving carpenter off of this? Come on.
Carpenter. You're so right.
Warden. I think there's a lot of
yes.
gay lady therapists.
There are. I have quite a few gay lady friends who are therapists. So.
But listen, also, we don't hear anybody else mention that the PE teacher is gay. Just Cher, who like clocks her in a heartbeat.
That's a good point. So it's like, right, like, because gays can spot gays. She's got good gaydar. Because she's like, oh, takes one to know one. I see you here.
Well, and it takes one to know one, and she clearly is like, I can use this to my advantage by talking about how much men are the worst. Yes. An easy task for me, famous hater of all men on earth.
I love when she has that whole scene with the PE teacher where like she's like, I'm gonna get what I want by talking to this lesbian. But also in the scene where she goes into the teacher's lounge, I had to pause it because, and I know this is not correct, right? But she's going through the lounge and she's like, the terrible math teachers, and somehow they're married, right? And she goes into the next one and I was like, wait, what? I was like, because it was two women that she showed in the frame. And so in my mind, my gay mind, I was like, oh, they're married to each other. Which is that's not what she meant. That's not what she was saying at all. Gay marriage was not even legal at this time. Like, it would have made no sense for her to have said that sentence. But I was like, wow, this is so progressive. There's married teachers, married lesbian teachers, and a single lesbian PE teacher. But no.
I mean, they were wearing like very specific cardigans, I feel like, which in and of itself feels like a very gay maneuver.
They looked very gay. That's why I was like, oh yeah.
I love that whole scene because there is this like, right? It's like, oh, here's these ladies from the math department with their long prairie skirts and their cardigans on, as you do. And then, here's the Miss Stoger with her, like, I think she's like pretending to throw a football. Like showing some woman at the table that she's talking to that she's going to impress her with, like, oh, the representation.
Literal shoot your shot right there. That's what's happening.
It is. It's some of the best lesbian rep we've ever gotten, is that PE teacher.
Okay, so wait, while we talk about all of the gay things about Cher, and, listen, she's gay in a lot of ways. She's, owns an awful lot of, like, plaid. Everyone in this movie, like, plaid, just top to bottom, everywhere. She's super into Jews. She can't drive. She hates boys. She's a virgin, of course she is. She goes for the only gay dude in the school. Can we also talk about, like, what is the message of this film? That when she meets obvious lesbian Ty, who shows up in their gym class, and she is like, yes, let me take you and, like, also repress you back into this closet that I exist in, and like make sure that nobody notices that you are like this out, happy, proud person, and like then immediately regrets that decision. interesting.
That is interesting, because it is like one of those things where she's like, I need to make you more like me, and then the me is the more repressed, like, right? Like a less freedom to actually be vocal about the things that you are actually into, or the things that you like or want. And yeah, the climax of that film is like looking at Ty, who says,
You're a virgin who can't drive. Sorry.
you're a virgin who can't drive. And she looks at her and she's like, I have made you become the worst version, repressed version of me. And what we both need is to be like out of this like space and to be like free to be what we are. Also, she drives a Jeep, and I feel like Jeeps are gay.
Yes. Also, not only is it the you're a virgin who can't drive part of that conversation that really starts to get to her, but it's also there's these things sinking in where you can see that she's like, I feel like Ty isn't happier now. And also, I feel like she's watching, right? Because it's right after the conversation where Ty is like, I have to burn all these things that reminded me of Elton. I feel like you can see Cher processing in her head. She's like, but you were never actually into Elton. We made you be into Elton, and we like constructed this elaborate fantasy that now you're acting like it's real, but like I'm not even emotionally invested enough in it because we just made it up, but like now somehow you are. And you can like see it all starting to sink in that she's like, but you're not even into him. Like, why would you be? You're clearly gay. And it's like slowly breaking through the facade, you know, that she's like, oh no.
It is. It's like a moment of clarity. And she's not wearing lipstick in that moment.
That is a very important distinction.
Yes. Where she's like, I need to be really, truly myself and fresh-faced and wan a little. Like, I look a little sick.
Is that like the indicator of a lesbian? You're like, I just look a little sick now.
We're all a little depressed and pale. That's what we're saying.
Look at any lesbian period drama, please. Somebody's going to be dying of cholera or consumption.
You're not
that's
wrong.
The gayer version of Clueless is that Cher dies of cholera. I like where it's going.
Listen, I would take dying of cholera over making out with your stepbrother in a heartbeat, okay? I'm sorry, is that just me? I'll take that ending. Bury them gays, okay? I'm fine.
Oh my god, never thought we'd hear Lee say that.
I can't do the stepbrother thing. I'm sorry. It still weirds me out every time I watch this movie.
It is very weird. It also is the same shit we see, even though, like, yes, Paul Rudd, love you. You do look like a lesbian. You soft butch, like your flannels, everything. But it's the same hetero relationship we get in all these 90s films that is like just completely predicated on like negging each other.
Yes.
Right? Like, oh, we flirt by like being completely rude to each other. And it's like, oh, but that was really love. It's like, how about no? And how about you just are actually in love with your best friend Dion, who's always hyping you up and not tearing you down.
Thank
That's
you.
my soapbox for that one. But
it's also, here's why I think I have a problem with the stepbrother thing. There's absolutely no need for it as a plot device. Like, zero. Right? Like, there's no need for them to be related in any way.
Holy shit. Why am I only having this come to Jesus right now?
You could make him like a clerk who's working for her dad, or just literally anything, any other reason. There's no need for them to be related. They just decided to go with it for reasons that I don't think I want to know about. It's weird.
No, you're totally right. That is so shocking to me. I have legitimately I've seen this movie 100+ times. This is the only time you saying this right now. What's wrong with me? This is the only time you saying this right now that I've been like, why did they have to do this? And I'm like, at the time I was like, of course he's her stepbrother. Of course he's her stepbrother.
How else would they know each other? Yeah, literally any other way. They meet at a coffee shop. It doesn't matter. He delivers water bottles to their house. Anything. You come up with anything. There's no need for this.
You're totally right, too, because they already put in the plot that he works for the dad.
Yes.
So, like, if he works for the dad, why does he need to be your stepbrother? Oh, no. I'm going to, like, really have to unpack a lot of this. This is going to be, like, I'm going to have a crisis over this.
I'm so sorry.
I do have a potential explanation for the stepbrother.
Okay,
but
please
I'm
hit
not
us.
quite sure. Well, have either of you read the book Emma? Because I have not. Is that relationship based on any? Because you know that Clueless is loosely based on Emma.
I mean, I know that that's there, but, like, it's not, like, explicit. Like, they didn't need to do that. Like, they could have just been, like, the close family friend or something. Like, the guy, like, Emma's, like, love interest is not, like, her stepbrother.
Yeah, make him live next door. Do something.
Could be, like, literally, like, oh, like, I don't know. Like, why did it need to be, like, I don't know. There was just, like, some, like, there was some shit happening in the 90s. There was, like...
There were why were there multiple sibling plots? I can think of at least 3 films, at least 3 in the 90s, that revolved around step siblings hooking up with each other.
Oh, Cruel Intentions. That came out
Cruel Intentions,
right.
yeah.
And Drive Me Crazy. Have you seen that one?
Yeah! Oh my god! It was just a trope, a horny trope. It was like somebody was like really like into like a subcategory on Pornhub. And they were like,
Listen.
this is what I'm into.
I think the important question that needs to be asked is, straight people, are you okay?
No. I think we look and we're like, just as it's askance, like just like no. And I say this with love. Like, no, they're not fine.
They're not fine. I have one other important thing that I want to talk about. Just because, again, now that I love going back to look at movies sometimes with our new, gayer, more critical eyes, can we just talk real quick about the whole scene where she's having this epiphany of, like, I'm in love with my stepbrother Josh. And she walks up and there's this fountain and the and she's like, when suddenly, and then there's this lighting shift and the fountain and the water's going everywhere. Can we discuss again, it's my favorite Ellie, the very obvious bisexual lighting behind her on the fountain? It is pink and fucking blue, okay? It's right there. It is deliberate. I just cannot with these lighting cues. They're everywhere.
It's true. And it's like a squirting fountain, a beautiful, just a beautiful explosion of water with the bisexual flag like basically behind it.
Yes. And here's why I love that moment, because what I am choosing to believe, my headcanon of this moment, is that her brain was so close to being like, why am I so upset that ties into Josh? And then she was like, when suddenly I'm gay, and her brain was like, no, Josh, you're in love with Josh, and she's like just further repressing it down even more, and the like fountain was like, I didn't get the memo, and I went with a different scenario here.
The fountain was like, no, you're bisexual. Come on.
But no, instead she's like, I'm going to repress my obvious, lesbian tendencies with my stepbrother for a bit. This won't cause any need for therapy at all.
I do feel like every time I've watched Clueless in the past, I have been so weirded out by the Josh storyline because it really feels like it comes out of nowhere at the end. And I know I watched this again being like, okay, I know Josh. But for her, it comes out of nowhere. Like, they constantly are hinting that, like, he keeps being like, oh, my stepsister is pretty. Like, he keeps having these weird looks and stuff like that. But for her, it literally comes out of nowhere, which is why they're like, oh, surprise, this happened. I never bought it. Like, I could never buy into their relationship together. And now that we're making it gay, it makes me so much happier because I can really be like, okay, yeah, here's why. But I couldn't buy it.
I don't know why, but all I could think of, Ellie, while you were saying that is you're like, yeah, you keep getting these things with Josh being like, she's kind of pretty, ha ha ha. And like, all I can hear is what's his face in being like, les cousins dangereux. That's all I'm hearing in my head right now is he's like, there's this movie I'd like to watch with you.
Oh my God, like from Arrested Development?
Yes. Yes, exactly that. So that's what this is like the precursor, I think.
Also, I'm like, Arrested Development, cousins. What is wrong with people?
Exactly, that's what I'm saying.
Right? Aren't they cousins?
They need to self-reflect. They gotta like, but yeah, that's actually very funny.
Should we, cleanse our palates of the stepbrother relationship with some queer ships? Can we like...
Yeah. Before we get into queer ships, though, is there anything else? I know we've actually been pretty thorough with this film. I love how gay it is. But is there anything else, Kristen, before we go into who are we shipping with who, that you're thinking about and you're like, oh, I forgot to mention this super gay part and we need to talk about it?
I actually think, just to put it out there, I think that their relationship with Amber is very gay. Because Amber is the one that they're like, I feel like she feels like a shitty ex-girlfriend that one of them had. And they're like, well, now we hate her. And they have like a very like toxic relationship together. And I love the kind of, right, the idea that like Amber like wears clothes that Cher had like worn before and things like that. So yes, I would like to just set that out there for the record, that I think that is also very gay part of the storyline.
100% yes.
So you think that Amber, like the clothes Amber is wearing, she had taken from Cher when they were together? Like it was like, oh, I'm not giving it back.
All I'm saying is it could be. That's all I'm saying is it could.
I'm here for that. I also want to honorable mention Tyler as a very like cute little, right? Tyler. I'm like Ty and Tyler. That's his name, right? The skater boy.
Travis?
Oh my God, Travis. Okay. I love Tyler. I don't know who he is, but I love him. But I do want to talk about Travis because I feel as though, if we're going to get deep about it, Travis is like the queer person that Ty originally gravitates towards, right? Travis is just like so like sweet and earnest and like cares about her drawing and all this kind of stuff, right? And Cher's like, oh no, you can't date a woman. Let's just say Travis is a woman, right? You can't date Travis, this woman. You have to date Elton because he's the one that's like the perfect hetero man. And then by the end,
Elton John, the perfect hetero man. Truly just incredible. Just,
hey, he's got some nice cardigans. Come on.
a chef's kiss of a moment there, for sure.
Elton. But then full circle by the end, right? Ty has like now come back to herself and is like, oh yeah, I am still queer and like I like this queer person, so let's date. And it's gonna be great. And I like that the outfit that Travis wears to the wedding is so what a queer person would wear to a wedding. It's like a short suit.
Yeah. Also, can we discuss the fact that these teachers invite all of their students to their wedding? Are we supposed to believe that Cher is like a bridesmaid in this wedding?
Here's my thought process on this. These teachers don't make that much money, and I feel like they got married at her house. So maybe they ingratiated themselves because they needed to be like, we're teachers, we're on a teacher's salary. These kids are friggin' loaded. Like, what if we like were like, oh, you're amazing. What if you're in the wedding? Could you ask your dad if we can like use your estate for our marriage? Like, I was just like, good for them. Eat the rich.
Yes.
I'm here for that explanation. Also, I feel like Cher was like, they got engaged and she was like, it was me, I did it. And they were like, oh, thank you so much, Cher, for being a complete creep. Thank you. But either way, she definitely is a bridesmaid. Like, she's in the bridal party. She's in the bridal party. And we don't know why, but she is. But yes, Lee, now that we've gotten as much of that other stuff out, let's talk about ships.
Oh my God, I'm so ready. Well, let's start with you, Kristen. Who do you ship in this movie?
All right, I'm going to put it out here. I mean, if I imagine Paul Rudd as a lesbian and not her stepbrother, then I'm into that. But I actually kind of like Ty and Cher. I love the idea of this like scrappy new little baby queer coming into school, and then like Cher having this kind of like come to Jesus moment about like realizing who she is. I could ship the two of them, especially because like Ty changes and Cher's like, I don't know who you are anymore. Like I was like, I loved you and you're so different now. And and then they have this coming back together. So I was like, for me, I think the two of them, I definitely could ship that for sure.
Here's what I will give them as a ship that I'm just gonna put it out there. But their ship name has to be Chai, and it's adorable.
And it's a very cute ship name.
It's 1,000% cuter than almost any other ship name we've ever done on Should Have Been Gay.
I also love, you talked about this earlier, Kristen. We won't get too into it because we could talk for hours. But like the friend breakup is a very queer thing. So like Ty and Cher's friend breakup and then getting back together is like they broke up, they get back together. And when they get back together, that's when they're like, I'm sorry, I like got so mad at you. It was just because I'm in love with you. And then they're like, oh, yeah, me too. And it's fine. I'm going to throw a ship out there that I've already talked about, but I just really love, which is the math teachers. Forever, together forever. I don't know their names.
They're obviously just math teacher squared.
Oh, yeah, math squared. The evil trolls from the math department. That's what they're called. That's what Cher calls them.
That's like super hot. I love that.
Yeah. Troll squared.
A gay mood.
I'm here for them.
Well, listen, I have to do Cher and Dion. I just can't not, because from that very opening of the movie, too, where it's like, Cher picks her little plaid outfit out, and then Dion comes out in her little plaid outfit, and then they're calling each other in the hallway, and I'm like, oh, look at you two little girlfriends. You're adorable. I'm here for it. I am not here for anything we're going to come up with for a ship name for them, though. I apologize to everyone in advance for whatever this is gonna turn into. Dare? Oh, Dare's kind of cute. Oh, I like that. I ship it. Dare.
And I only didn't ship them because I knew you would, Lee, but they are my top ship. Like my top real ship, I love them.
Are you a Chai shipper or a Dare shipper, listeners? You let us know.
There's so much gay in this, like a lot of it. Just so much.
There is a lot of it. Clueless. Should have been gay.
It should have been gay.
Now it is time.
Q and gay.
Here we go. Our first question. Who is your favorite Clueless couple? A, Dee and Murray. B, Ty and Travis. C, Cher and Josh. Or D, math squared.
Fuck. I was going to say Ty and Travis, but I think I have to go with math squared.
There's a story there. We just need to get it.
I am interested in that. That's the mystery. That's the gay mystery that I'm interested in. So I'm going to go with math squared.
I love them so, I just didn't expect it, and it really has gone into my soul. I'm going to write fanfic about these two. And I've never written a fanfic before, and this is the moment.
I would read that. So please do.
I'm sorry, I'm just trying to picture Ellie starting her illustrious fanfiction career with these two elderly math teachers who get a grand total of 3 seconds of screen time in Clueless, and I am dying.
I cannot
Amazing. I'm very excited. Kristen, question 2. What's the gayest line in Clueless? A, I've never had straight friends before. B, there will be no cruising around with Dion. C, any variation of, ew, get off of me. Or D, Hagsville.
Oh, God, I love all of these. I think I'm going to go with A, though. I really think that, honestly, every line in this movie is gay.
I'm dead. The Hagsville got me. I'm like, if you did not know that man was gay from him saying Hagsville, I cannot. All right, so our next one is, which celebrity would you ask to plant a celebrity tree for the tree people? We love the tree people. A, Marky Mark. B, Elton John. Or C, Luke Perry.
Oh, God, we're going to go Luke Perry. Luke Perry's a lesbian. I love Luke Perry. I miss Luke Perry. God bless Luke Perry. I mean it with the most honor in my heart. Luke Perry is a lesbian. love you. Amazing.
Incredible. Question 4, tough question. Who is the gayest out of A, Cher, B, Ty, C, Dion, or D, Christian?
Okay, I think the obvious answer is like Ty, but I think the real answer is Cher. I think Cher is the gayest. She's the most closeted. She's repressed, anal retentive, has like weird social anxiety about things, and is like deeply obsessed with her friends. I think Cher is the gayest.
I think we can agree, yeah. The gayest, even though she's not the outest. But yes. All right, question number 5. What type of gay are you? A, a juicing gay. B, can't drive gay. C, flannel gay. Or D, skateboard gay.
Oh, I'm a flannel gay. Happily, lovingly a flannel gay. Like, I made this promise to my girlfriend, like, last week. I said if I got any new flannels, I would have to take out a flannel for a new one in the closet. That's gay itself. Like, I was like, it's coming out of the closet, it's going into the closet. It's a lot of flannel. It's a lot of homosexuality.
I love it. Amazing. Incredible. Kristen, thank you so much for joining us. Tell our listeners where they can find you and where they can find all your stuff.
Oh, Lord, God knows I'm on Twitter. So you can find me on Twitter at Kristen Arnett if you are interested in real bad jokes and dad humor. And you can also find any of my writing stuff or like look up any of my books if you are into that at KristenArnettWriter.com, which is my website that, I mean, it has like a picture of me looking like real weird on a beach and then like all my shit on it. But yes, you can find all that stuff there. But anyway, yeah, like mostly I'm just on Twitter, just being very stupid in real life.
And thanks for joining us for our historic 69th Should Have Been Gay. Wow.
I am thrilled. This was honestly so much fun. This is like the most fun I've had in a minute. Thank you for having me.
Yes, success. This movie is so gay. So thank you for joining us to talk about it. It was so wild.
Let me hear you say hip, 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 we're gay.
We love hearing from you and building community, so we want to shout out some of our favorite things each episode. And we would like to shout out Grace, who reached out to us via email and said they just listened to our Beaches episode and needed to inform us that their cousin, Nikki Plant, had a minor role in the movie and she's a lesbian. So,
amen.
Were we right? Or
God is
were
good.
we right?
Incredible. Just incredible.
Can you imagine too, like, obviously we didn't do this, but like in our Should Have Been Gay episode for like she said her cousin does a gymnastics routine in the competition, right? We're like, oh, that gymnastics girl, like she seems
really
gay.
Pings my dar, you know?
Yeah. Also, shout out to Grace and
we have to watch it again.
Yeah, I need to watch it again to be like, oh yeah, she was gay. I love it.
Yeah, shout out to you, Nikki. We love it. Also, we want to shout out Daryl, who also sent us an email about an interview with Christy Carlson Romano, in which she even mentions that they thought Cadet Kelly was kind of gay at the time. So, like, listen, we are vindicated. That's all we're gonna say.
We always are. That's it.
The only CCR in our hearts, Christy Carlson Romano.
Carlson Romano. Hit us up, Christy. Let's talk. Even Stevens should have been gay. Oh my god,
Done.
Actually, we should get her. We could. All right. And as always, we want to thank our Lesbian Jesus patrons, Mark Foster,
Jess Klaus,
Tanya Ferguson,
Jacqueline Rose Nishino,
Sarah and Julia,
Carrie Ann Lawrence,
Danny Gunluck Tamora,
Brittany Ray,
Alana Rosen,
Lizette Stye,
Stacy,
Adi Benitez,
and Fiona W.
And our King Princess patrons, Amy and Ellen,
Leah Henley,
Liz Chen,
and Julia Gonzalez. Thank you all so much for your continued support. We appreciate you so much.
Remember, you can find us on all the social medias. We are on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at Let's Hang Out Pod.
Or you can email us at letshangoutpod@gmail.com.
You can check out our website at letshangoutpod.com.
Whatever app you use for podcasts, make sure you subscribe so you'll be the first to know when new episodes drop.
And a reminder, you can still find The Flame everywhere that you listen to podcasts. All the episodes are out. There is no excuse not to listen, maybe re-listen, maybe listen a third time. You know, whatever you got to do to get by.
We see you out there, Sam. We also post videos up on our YouTube channel, so make sure you subscribe at youtube.com/letshangoutpod to catch them.
If you want to help support the podcast, there are so many ways that you can do that. The first, it's easy, it's free. Go and leave us a rating and a review on the Apple Podcasts app. A, we love reading the reviews, and B, it helps new people find the show.
If you want to join our Patreon, you can do that at bit.ly/lespatreon. Every single one of our patrons is a big part of our Les Hangout family. We love chatting with all of you on our Discord chat, and you help us make the show and continue to grow. We are doing our Season 5 Patreon campaign right now. When we hit 150 patrons, Lee and I will start recording some bonus episodes for you because we don't see each other enough. And so we need to record more stuff. Right, Lee?
And as our patron Zet realized recently, at 300 patrons, we're doing like a Tahoe retreat. So you can, you got a lot to look forward to.
A lot
Just
to
saying.
look forward to. I know, 150, man, let's get to 300. I want to go to Lake Tahoe with all of you. Come on, let's do this.
Reach for the stars. You'll be able to see them in that beautiful Tahoe sky.
Yes.
We also have a Patreon for the Flame, where you can help us continue to get the Flame headed towards the stage, and you can help us make the next musical that we're already working on, and get all of the sneak peeks and, secrets that we can release about it coming up. So you can find that at bit.ly/theflamepatreon.
If you want to get some Les Hangout merch, it is the perfect time to get a mug or a sweatshirt at bit.ly/lesshop.
And if you want to follow us individually, you can find me on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok at LSH Foster.
And you can find me on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok at Ellie Brigida. With that, I'm Ellie.
And I'm Lee.
And
let's hang out again soon.
Let's hang out.
Hi, I'm Laura Cathcart Robbins, and I am the host and creator of the podcast Only One in the Room. Every week, my co-host Scott Slaughter and I invite you to join us and lose yourself in someone's incredible Only One story. We talk to real people dealing with issues like infertility, the death of a loved one, human trafficking, and women who, fake it. Oh, and we want to be fair, so we talk to celebrities too. Emmy winners like actor John Cryer, supermodels like Amber Valletta, and rock stars like Ryan Dusick. Everyone is invited to share their Only One story with our listeners. With 21 seasons and counting, we guarantee you that Only One in the Room has a story that you'll connect with. This podcast is for anyone who has ever felt alone in a room full of people, which is to say that this podcast is for everyone. Download Only One in the Room on Apple or Spotify today.